In this video, we're going to take a look at exception handling and how to use the try-catch method so we can catch errors or exceptions that are thrown and prevent our program from crashing. So what we're going to do for this program is we're going to generate a random number, and then we're going to try to generate a random number incorrectly. So what we're going to do is we're going to use two numeric up-down objects. I'm going to double-click once, double click again. I'm also going to need a button to handle my code. So I want to not move that way off to the side. So I need another one. I thought I double clicked on it twice. Apparently I did not. So now I have both of them. And all we're going to do is generate a random number. The user is going to set the minimum value and also the maximum value. So this is going to be my min value. I'm going to rename it min value. I'm going to rename this one max value. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to scroll over here to the name, and I'm just going to change this to min value. I'm going to change this one to max value. Now that I have that, I just want to change this button where it says roll. We can leave it as button 1. If you watch my other videos, I talk about never doing that, but because this is learning how to use the try-catch statement, we don't need to be formal with the buttons. We just need to learn how to use the try-catch statement. So now that I have everything named and ready to go, we're going to switch over to our code. We're going to set up the code to generate a random number, and then we're also going to talk about how to use the try-catch statement. Let's switch over to our code now. So I'm inside my button 1 click event. I have R&D select as new random. This will generate a random number for me, but I need to store it. So I'm going to store it in a variable that I've called R&D num. That's going to be an integer. It's going to store a whole number. I also have my min value that I want the minimum value of my random number to be, and my max value that I want my max value to be. Now, there is one small thing you need to know about max, which we'll cover in just a second. So I'm going to set my min value to my numeric up-down object, which was min value. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to get the value of that numeric up-down, and I also need to get the max value, which is going to be max value dot value. Now, it's important to know here that when you're generating a random statement, that you know the first number is inclusive and the second number is exclusive. So here's what I mean by that. We need to store this random statement, the result of it, inside R&D num. So I'm going to do R&D select dot next, and inside these parentheses, I need my minimum value and I need the maximum value, but the maximum value is exclusive. So let's say I wanted to generate a number between 1 and 6. I'd put 1 comma, I would not put 6. That will generate a number between 1 and 5 because the second number is exclusive. So I would need to do 7. But this program isn't us choosing the bounds, it's a user choosing the bounds. So I'm going to do min, and I'm just getting, let's see here. Let's do this. Let's try this. Min, there we go. And then we need to do max plus 1. So that's what we need to do. So now, if you're getting autocomplete, you can just type in an extra letter, and that will prevent it from auto-completing for you. So we have our minimum value, and we have our max plus 1. So what we want to do is we want to run our program and make sure it works, and it will work. It'll generate a random number, but what we need to do is we need to output that random number. There we go. Because we need to see what the number is, and we want to make sure we're getting a number between the bounds we set. So I want a number between 0 and, let's say, 3. I got 2. That's between 0 and 3. I got 0. I got 0. I got 0. I got 3. I got 2. Can I get a 1? Let's see if I can get a 1. There's a 1. So I have 0, 1, 2, and 3, and I can run this repeatedly. I'll never get a number outside of 0. I'll never get a number outside of 3. It'll always be between 0 and 3. That's why this max plus 1 is important. Now, what could happen is the user could come along and say, you know what would happen if I do 5 and 0? Well, when we hit roll our program would crash. So it tells us the min value cannot be greater than the max value. So what we want to do is we want to handle that. We don't want the program to crash. We want to say, hey, I know what you're trying to do, and what we're going to do is prevent you from doing that. So we have to identify, where is my error occurring? Well, it's not occurring here. It's not occurring in the variables. It's occurring right here. But I only want this message box to display if a random number was chosen. When you're doing try-catch, you do not wrap your entire code in one try-catch statement. You do snippets of code identifying where your program can crash. Because I know my program can crash right here, I want to put in my try statement. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to try these 2 lines of code. If something happens and it crashes, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to catch x as exception. Now, x is a variable. I have dimensionalized it as exception. And what I want to do is if it catches an exception, I'm going to tell them, the min value must be higher than the max value you entered. So that's what I'm going to tell them. And then you'll see I have a red line. We always want to close our try-catch statements with end try. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run our program. We're going to break the rules, and then it's going to catch the error. So I'm going to say between 5 and 0. That is not allowed. That's against the rules. So I hit roll, and I get my message box right here. The min value must be higher than the max value entered. When I hit OK, it doesn't crash. When I follow the rules, the try lines of code work, and because there's not an exception being thrown, it will output what it's telling me to do. So I'll get a number 5 and 6. So I'll just, and 7, because we did the +1. So I have all my numbers. Now, something else I can do is maybe I can't come up with a good message inside the message box. Maybe I want to output an actual error. Maybe I'm testing my code and I'm not sure why an error is occurring. And, I have my catch x as exception, but I'm just not sure what the actual error is. Well, you can have it tell you what that is. We said the x is a variable and it's been dimensionalized as exceptions, which means it has its own methods and properties. So I can do x.message. And what that will do is it will give me a message of what is actually happening. So if I do 5 and 0, now it's given me the actual error exception. Min value cannot be greater than max value. Parameter name, min value. So all I do is I hit OK. The program is still running. If I follow the rules, then it works perfectly. It will continue running as long as the rules are being followed. So that is how you use try-catch, and that's how you handle exception handling. Remember, please do not wrap your entire code in one try-catch statement. The object is to identify where your error can occur, which is right here, because the user could select a minimum value that is greater than the maximum value, which is not allowed. So that's what I'm trying to do. I want to try to do this without an error being thrown. If an error is thrown, I want to display the message to them, letting them know why they are getting the error. I can use x.message, or I can generate my own custom message. One more time, this message box, the reason I do not want it outside the try-catch statement is because I only want it to appear when this line of code has run successfully. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any comments, please post one below. And if you found this video helpful, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to help the channel grow. We'll see you guys in the next video.